This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, but the real star to today's show comes to us from Cube Controls, and it is their relatively new GT0 wheel rim. The GT0 is a wheel rim only, and it starts out at €159.84 or about 193 bucks. The GT0 also comes available with a center badge for those who are only using 3 bolts or want that carbon fiber extra high-tech look about it, and then it actually goes for €179.79 or about $217. And you can buy the badge on its own for about 20 bucks. Now, Cube Controls, they've made their name in this industry by making some of the nicest high-end aftermarket steering wheels. If you have a direct drive wheel, chances are you either have or have considered or certainly have looked at Cube Controls steering wheels, and they are very pricey, very beautiful, very exotic, and very high-end. But they do come at a price that might even exceed the value of your wheelbase. In the case of the GT0, it's a wheel rim only, it's pre-drilled for the 70mm automotive bolt pattern, which means it can work on just about any quick release, any wheel hub adapter, or it's a perfect match for DIYers who want to build up their own button box or paddle box underneath this wheel rim. The GT0 from Cube Controls is a 300mm wide open wheel style rim. Its center spoke is a 5mm thick brushed aluminum anodized in black with a Cube Control logo engraved and colored into the middle. The GT0 has a 70mm automotive bolt pattern, and it also has 2 additional holes that are positioned in the center spoke for buttons, dials, or encoders. The wheel rim is covered in real suede leather and has a very, very smooth finish. The shape of the wheel rim is an open wheel style with the cut-off top and an ergonomic shape in the handhold areas, and a hint of a bump that lets you know your hands are towards the bottom of the grips. The grips, or where you put your hands, are about 31 to 34 millimeters or about 1¼ inches wide, and front to back they measure in at about 40 millimeters or a little over 1.5 inches thick. So who even needs a wheel rim add-on in sim racing? I mean, if you're on a Logitech or a Thrustmaster, this doesn't apply to you unless you're going to find some sort of an adapter, and there are a lot of companies that make adapters to hold a 70mm bolt pattern wheel, a standard wheel, onto those wheels. However, in this scenario, you'd have no buttons, you'd have no dials, no shifters, and for an open styled wheeled rim, that would actually be kind of odd. Now, in the case of Fanatic users, if you have the universal hub, this is made to bolt right onto that hub and many hubs like it. Now, the final option, and the option that I chose to go with, is turning it into a DIY project. This is a perfect wheel rim for those who may be considered buying a Sparco or a Momo or an MPI or a Grant or any other generic steering wheel and using that as the starting point for doing your own DIY. I thought this would be a perfect fit for my own little project. This is coming right on the heels of me having built that McLaren GT3 style rim and 3D printed everything, and in the end, it was the grips that were my frustration point. I just couldn't finish it as nicely as I would like my wheel to be. That comes in where you buy a wheel rim and build everything else around it, and that's the approach that I took. This allowed me to also incorporate the center buttons and use this wheel to its fullest. Now, in theory, the installation is very easy because we're going to assume that you have a 70mm hub or quick release that you're bolting this onto. 6 bolts later and you're up and running. No buttons, or that would be provided by the hub that you're using. And the Cube Controls did come with 6 countersunk bolts to be able to get that done. Now, in my scenario, I was doing something a little bit extra and those bolts weren't going to work, but once my design was completed, again, we were 6 bolts from bolting this thing through my wheel hub into the quick release and being up and running. It's really that easy. Now, when it comes to driving the GT0, once it was fully built, assembled, and on my rig, and I could get my hands on it, it was a very comfortable wheel rim. Its shape at the hands is wonderful. It has a really natural shape, and my hands just grip it well without even squeezing hard. The shape holds those hands right in the correct spot, even when turning the wheel. And when at full lock scenarios, the heel of your hand will actually feel those lower lumps as a reminder that you are on the edge of the grip area of the wheel rim. Despite being 300 millimeters wide, the wheel has a small feel to it that walks the line between twitchy and smooth turning very well. I find smaller open wheel rims to be too quick to turn or respond at times, but the GT0 does a great job of finding the balance. A good part of the small feeling is the cutaway top of the rim. This gives you great visibility over the top and again makes the wheel feel smaller than it is. The leather suede wrap is really well done and it is very smooth on your hands. The only thing that you can feel is the seam right on the tips of the handles. It is placed in an area that actually increases my grip, but for the most part, it isn't even felt. I really like the shape, the size, the grip, and the function of this wheel rim, and it really was a pleasure to work with while designing and installing my button plate. The GT0 really is a fine option for projects, and it really would make a good replacement wheel for a worn out wheel rim. And at 200 bucks, I'm not going to call it inexpensive, but I would say it's in line with its place in the market. I mean, it is a bit less expensive than a Sparco or a Momo or a big name wheel rim. And at the same time, it is a bit more expensive than a knockoff wheel rim from Amazon. But you know you're getting a nice wheel rim from a good sim company. It's got high quality. The quality, quite honestly, is as nice as a Momo as far as the leather and the finish and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it really fits that price point, and it really does make it a good option for anybody looking for a wheel rim. Now, Cube Controls, you can check it out at their website. They do make a variety of different wheel rims. This is their open wheel style. They have a GT, they have more of a round style. Plenty to choose from, and unfortunately they're all sold out, but I'm sure we'll see more in stock in the near future. So I hope you've enjoyed this review, and if you're intrigued by the way I use this, if you want to know more about this 3D printed universal hub by Sean, you're going to see a video coming out in the next few days on this channel showing you how I did that as well. And if you want to know when it comes out, just subscribe to us here at YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.